Chops away.
Chops away.
A bit of history here.
Owner's name and address. Noi Hotel Asphalt Company, Sturt Street, South Melbourne.
Wow. So it was made by Fowler in South Melbourne?
Yeah. And it was inspected by the Victorian Department of Labour on the 22nd of July 1926 by Inspector Crofts.
Welcome to another episode from the Macedon Rangers and District Motor Club. Today I was fortunate enough to catch up with Brett and Chris from the local steam club here in Gisborne, Victoria, Australia. Chris took me through the technical details of getting this 1926 Fowler Steam Roller ready for work. It's not an easy exercise. Man, you've got to start work early. Sit back and watch this.
So this boiler is what's called a locomotive style boiler. The fundamental design was developed by George and Robert Stevenson for the rocket. It consists of a water enclosed firebox, except for the bottom. So the bottom's got an ash pan and a grate. The rest of the firebox is surrounded by water, side, front and back, and there's a firing hole at the back where we're feeding the fuel. Towards the top of the front plate of the firebox there are tubes that go through the barrel here, and then the smoke goes up the chimney. So most of the heat transfer, something like 70%, takes place in the firebox, and the remaining 30% in the tubes. Those figures are approximate. And above the boiler barrel we have the reciprocating engine. So steam comes up from the engine, round the barrel, has access to the safety valves and the whistle. So the safety valve is always connected to the boiler, it can't be isolated. So after the safety valve, downstream of it, there's a regulator valve, which is this big rod coming here, worked from the...
So that's a manual thing, is it?
Yes, a manual regulator. And that allows steam to go into the valve chest, which alternately passes steam to this end of the piston cylinder and that end of the piston cylinder. Blows the steam backwards and forwards. Well, steam blows the piston backwards and forwards. The steam is then passed via the valve system into the low pressure cylinder on that side where it does some more work. So this is what's called a compound engine. The work is divided up between the two cylinders. So that means that the range of temperature isn't as great in the cylinders, so you don't get as much condensation. In this engine here, it's a simple expansion, a single expansion. So there's a bigger temperature range between inlet and outlet conditions. So the cylinder tends to get colder towards the end of the stroke. And then when the fresh steam comes in, it condenses on the cylinder walls and you irreversibly lose some heat there that hasn't done work. So the compounding system reduces the temperature range and reduces that loss of condensation, heat transfer.
So do you see that as a benefit?
Yes, it's a thermodynamic benefit. It adds to mechanical complication. But once you get up at pressures around about 125, 130, they often go to compounding. Indeed, these engines were usually leaving the factory at about 180 when compounding was certainly worth the effort.
Right.
I've worked on a triple expansion engine on the steam tug Yelta in Adelaide, and that works at 200 pounds per square inch, and that has 3 stages of expansion.
And those sorts of pressures, is that high? Is that a danger? When you're dealing with those?
Well, the pressure vessels have to be checked by a boiler inspector. Typically for things like this that are only used 2 or 3 times a year at most, every second year they are inspected. For things that we use daily, they were given annual inspections.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you do that inspection?
So all the inspection holes are taken out, the surfaces are cleaned. He goes in with his torch and mirrors and what have you, and may use an optical fibre tool and inspects the surfaces internally and externally.
So it's a visual check in most cases, is it?
Yes, if substantial work has been done, he may do a hydraulic test, fill it up with water and pressurise.
And pressurise it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yes. And I noticed this has got a rather, I'll call it crude steering mechanism.
Yes.
With chain.
Yeah.
Is that hard to steer?
Well, you've got to have it tuned so that the chain is not too tight. Otherwise, if you hit some bump, it'll give the mechanism an awful jerk. But not too loose. Otherwise, it's wanders. Yeah. Yeah.
And physically, or is it?
Not that hard. No, it's well geared. There's a worm gear inside here.
Okay. Yes.
So there's a big reduction ratio. So for one turn of that, you've probably got to do about 10 turns of that. I haven't counted the exact teeth numbers, but
yes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call it rack and pinion steering.
Not quite.
So how hot does it actually get, Chris?
So we're working at a pressure of...
Is heat a problem or is it pressure a problem?
Oh, either one can hurt you if it's out of control.
So when we're looking at
So I'm taking you up to look at the pressure gauge. So. Yeah, so this is at 100 pounds per square inch. The pressure, see the red line there?
Yes.
So that means the safety valve set at 100 pounds.
So is that classed as operating pressure now?
That's the maximum operating pressure. We'll operate just a bit below that.
Okay. Yep.
The safety valves will lift and let off any excess steam once we get up to that red line.
Yes.
Yeah. So as boilers get older, the allowed pressure is reduced unless, yes.
Really? So as part of the certification, is that come into it?
Yes.
So over time, what...
The boiler will inspect every so often. He'll do thickness checks with an ultrasound machine and decide on what pressure he'll allow to be worked at. Yeah.
What are the other fascinating features?
So we dealt with the main engine.
Yes.
So it feeds its power to this crankshaft. And then after the crankshaft, we've got transmission gearing.
Oh, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah.
So it has a transmission?
Yes, it's very basic spur gears. So straight cut spur gears.
Yes.
So it goes from the crankshaft to a second shaft. And there's a 2-speed system there.
So
then it goes to a further reduction. There's a third shaft in here that...
So this is all gear driven, is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Here's your hat.
Thank you. So you can see there the third axle where I'm shining the torch.
Yes.
There's another reduction happening there, and then down below deck here there's the fourth and final axle. So this is known as a 4-shaft machine. Crankshaft, second shaft, third shaft, fourth and final shaft. Yeah.
Right. And at each, so there's a lot of lubrication on each of these. And is that grease or oil, Chris?
So the axles, all these shafts are being lubricated with a heavy oil, 460 ISO grade.
Okay. And it's how many forward gears is
2.
2 forward gears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult for you to see. It's up behind this green thing here.
Okay.
Can you see it there?
That's not the...
That's the drain valve. There's a gear shift valve here. The gear shift handle there.
Okay, yes.
So you're sliding pair of pinions for high or low speed. Yeah.
And there's no clutch involved?
No, you've got to bring the engine to a halt, then slide the gears across. If you're on a hill, you've got to chock the wheels, because once you're out of gear, the engine
really
can't break it.
So you've got to stop the roller to change gears?
Yes.
And does that, or is it difficult to change? Although these things would have so much torque, I take it.
Yes.
It doesn't. You could start this in any gear, I suppose, could you?
Depends. If you're on a steep slope, you'd only start in a low gear. Yeah. Yeah. And when you got to the crest of the hill, you may stop if it's flat, change into the high gear for the next part. But if you're on a hill going down or going up, You have to chock the wheels before you change anything.
Brakes. Are there any brakes?
Yes, there's this one. This one is unusual. There are brakes.
Not power brakes.
No,
Again, it'll be all brake.
band brake here.
Hand?
Band brake.
Band
Yeah, but
brake.
this hand, yes,
Yes.
it's hand. Yes.
Wow. So what material is it? Is it steel as a band or leather?
It's steel backed with some lining. I don't know what the lining is.
Okay, so this is the brake.
That's the drum and that's the band.
Got it. Yes. And what sort of speeds are we talking about here?
Very slow.
Are we what? No more than
Walking pace.
walking pace.
Yeah. Oh, you might be in a high gear on flat country. You might be at a brisk jog.
So there's no fear of getting hit with a speed camera. Hey? You wouldn't have a problem. You might run over it.
I would gladly run over it. Sorry to that.
So we're obviously using steam, and we need to replenish the boiler with water. So there's a water tank here.
How much? What sort of? That's a fuel tank, correct?
No,
Water.
no, it's water. It's a working fluid tank. The fuel's up here.
Of course, the wood is the fuel.
Yeah.
Of course.
So that water has to be pumped into the boiler, and the engine has on one of its, or it's on the crankshaft, it's got an eccentric that works a single acting plunger pump,
Yes.
and that pumps water into the boiler. It's always running, and if it's running well, it'll pump more water than required, so you bypass some of it back to the tank. So this valve here controls a bypass back to the tank.
Now, as they're steel water pipes, aren't they?
Yeah, steel water. These are steel.
Is there, or was there ever any copper pipes?
Yes,
at the boiler?
there's some copper ones on the other side.
Okay. Would that help you in long term or not? Being copper, as in it won't corrode?
Yes, I think it would last longer. So this is the other sort of pump. This is what's called an injector.
Yes.
So that takes steam. That valve up there takes steam. It passes it through a nozzle, gets to very high speeds and low pressures. That's coming in at high pressure, low speed, then goes through various nozzles that accelerate it to the point that it's subatmospheric pressure at very high speed. The pressure is being converted to kinetic energy. And it sucks water in from this tank here, which is gravity fed as well, but there is a sucking action. The steam and water combine in another cone and condense, and then it goes into a diffusing cone where it slows down and builds the pressure back up. So the pressure is then built back sufficiently to push it into the boiler, and that indeed is a copper pipe there.
Yes.
Now that comes along here and into the boiler. There's a double check valve system there, so water can't escape out of the boiler. There's two check valves in
So
series there.
it can't come back.
Correct.
Got it.
That's copper, as you can see.
Yes. So, what year is this, Chris?
This machine was made in approximately 1926. I don't have the maker's sheets with me, but
Okay. So it is just on 100 years old.
nearly 100.
Nearly 100. Wow.
Yeah.
And there's no electrics in this, is there?
None whatsoever.
So there's no batteries.
No, we do have up there a lamp, some sort of flicking orange lamp, which you'd have to have a battery on that, but that's a later addition.
That's for safety on the road.
Yes.
Okay. And as I understand it, this worked in Essendon, or
Yes, Essendon City Council, yeah.
so was it made by
Fowler in Leeds in England,
and
yes.
came to Essendon or something?
Which initially came to some road making company, whose name is on the first inspection sheet.
Bit of history here.
Owner's name and address. Noy Hotel Asphalt Company, Sturt Street, South Melbourne.
Wow. So it was made by Fowler and came to South Melbourne.
Yeah. and it's inspected by the Victorian Department of Labour on the 22nd of July 1926 by Inspector Crofts.
What are you checking there, Chris?
For the lubrication of the steering spindle.
Okay. How is that done? How do you got to take the cap off?
There's an oil hole here.
Okay. What grade oil do you use?
So we've got a 460 ISO
460.
and then the cylinder oil is a heavier grade again.
Would that be something like diff oil, would it, or not? So? Okay. It's pretty heavy looking.
It is.
Very clean though. It's not.
Synthetic oil actuated.
So this is a pre-flight check, is it?
Very much so.
Is this every time you use it, you're going to make sure you've got
Oil
oil everything?
Asking me about oils before.
Yes.
So the main cylinders are lubricated with an oil that's quite viscous at room temperature. It's International Standard Organisation viscosity 680, and the other bearings are oiled with still a fairly viscous oil, International Standard Organisation viscosity 460.
Got it.
So the steam stuff, as the engine gets warm, of course, that reduces the viscosity of the oil, so it's a very high viscosity oil. It also has animal fats in it.
I was thinking that.
Yes, it's a compound oil of mineral fats, animal fats, and the animal fats help it adhere to the cylinder wall, less likely to get washed off by condensate.
So you wouldn't use a synthetic oil as such, is that correct?
I wouldn't rule that entirely out. I'm not aware of one being available yet for cylinder steam lubrication, but I wouldn't rule it out. I'm telling you that the mineral oil and the animal fats, or sometimes vegetable fats, are added together and they improve the wetting of the cylinder walls by the oil. And because the cylinder walls, as the steam expands and drops in temperature, some condensation occurs, and that condensation can wash the oil off the wall.
Right. And that particular oil, the mineral oil, would that mix better with the steam or the water, or not?
The adding of the animal fat is intended to try and make it adhere to the cylinder wall. So
Got it.
we're trying to have a mixture that doesn't readily wash off the cylinder wall.
Okay, got it. Yes. So how much pre-flight checking do you need to do each time you get the roller going? So it's
check
quite
thoroughly for leaks, for water leaks.
Yes.
And before lighting the fire, you check for water leaks.
So there's quite a comprehensive list of things to do before you can actually use it.
Yes, so you need to be very familiar with the boiler and the engine and all the gear systems. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. The makers published handbooks which progressively improved over the years. Yeah, but people who are running these machines, such as myself and Brett, we have to have a boiler attendant certificate.
Is that something like a driver's license, is it? No, it's more involved than a driver's license.
Yes, so to drive a boiler you need what's called a boiler attendant certificate, and then to drive a bigger reciprocating engine you need what's called a reciprocating engine driving certificate. Once the bore of a cylinder is greater than 10 inches, you've got to have a reciprocating engine driver certificate. These bores are not bigger than 10 inches.
So how do you go about getting a boiler's certificate?
So you've got to, at the moment you do many units of theoretical study and do a quiz at the end of each chapter of that, and you have to be accumulating hours, and you have to do a big assignment. So you've got to be accumulating hours of experience under the supervision of somebody who has a certificate already. So that other young man is getting hours under the supervision of me and similar people.
Yes.
And once he's got the required number of hours, he's passed all the quizzes and done a very big assignment. Once he's done all those, he then goes and sits for a written exam, and then he has an oral exam with the machine in steam. Quite a procedure.
So you can't operate one of these without a certificate?
Can't operate a boiler like this.
Yes.
This is an unautomatic boiler, so it's a fully manually attended boiler, so you must have the certificate.
Got it. Yeah.
To operate an engine bigger than this, bigger than 10-inch bore, you've got to have a reciprocating engine driver certificate, which I have, and the other young man's in the process of getting that.
Got it, yes.
Yeah, so some of our engines are bigger than 10-inch bores. Certificate business has an interesting legal background in this state. So in the colony of Victoria, as you're aware, there are gold rushes in the 1850s. And as the mines got deeper, and they needed much more heavy steam machinery for getting the gold out, many quick rich gold mining companies were not taking their boilers out of service sufficiently and had untrained people operating on them. So the union movement in Victoria got fed up with boiler explosions and their members being injured. Right. And they petitioned the Victorian Parliament, as it was then, we're talking pre-Federation, and a consulting engineer, Mr. Wannon, surveyed, under the auspices of the government, surveyed lots of boilers and explored causes of accidents. And he then put recommendations to the Parliament, and one of the recommendations was that boilers be taken out of service, typically once a year, and thoroughly inspected by an independent person, and that those people who are operating the boilers have to have proper training. That's what they were significant thing. And similarly, those people who are making boilers have to have proper training.
And it's come about because of all the accidents.
In the gold rush period, yes.
Completely understandable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So similar things happened in America, and England was sort of onto it perhaps a bit earlier than us. I'm not so sure about their
So what years are we talking about there?
Gold rush time around
so
the
1850s.
When the mines got deeper and they had to use heavy machinery, when it was just surface alluvial mining, there wasn't much steam equipment involved. But when they had to have winding gear and pumping engines, then they had steam equipment.
Okay, so the steam engines were used to actually lift the elevators or hoists or out of the mine
lift
shaft.
the men and the ore out of the mine.
Got it.
But also significantly pumping water, because often these mines were going down below the water table.
Got it. Right.
Indeed, that's what often made mines economical, was uneconomic. When they got too deep, the water pumping load became too expensive.
Right. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So how long would it take, Chris, to get this roller operating in time from the... If you wanted to use this at 7 o'clock in the morning...
Yeah, you'd have to be here around 4.
4 o'clock. And that's a long shift. If you come in at work at 4 o'clock to get your roller working,
Yeah.
and you put in an 8-hour day maybe.
Just a long time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I came in yesterday and light what's called a warming fire, which helps the stuff expand gradually. So I had a fire going for about an hour and a half. And then this morning I was here at 7 and lit a fire again.
Wow.
And we've started to get pressure after 2 hours, just under 2 hours. And we'll probably have full pressure after another hour.
Wow.
Yeah. But during that time, you're going around oiling.
Correct.
After you lit the fire. And they're powered by the